We're back with another Stablecoin Spotlight. I'm really excited for this one. We have Raj here from Portal. Portal is sponsoring this event with us, so thank you first off for that. Let's start with an intro on you and what you're building.
Great to appreciate you having me over here. Where to start? Been in payments and fintech very long time. Started my career at Visa. Was building at the intersection of security and payments. Caught the crypto bug at Visa. Was one of the few crazy folks back in the 2015, 2016 time talking about Bitcoin and the craziness that we call crypto. Fast forward a couple years, was leading crypto products globally at Visa. Launched stablecoin settlement. This is before stablecoins were actually cool, where it was a full overhaul of the treasury systems at Visa, where you can, issuing banks and acquiring banks and settle over a blockchain and stablecoins. I then realized during that time where we're building with this infrastructure, almost 4 years ago, and we're like, man, this infrastructure just kind of sucks. It's really hard to build with. It was like, we have devs that are not crypto native that are trying to figure this stuff out. And then it prompted me the initial idea of Portal, where I was like, hey, there's got to be a better way. Let's go build infrastructure that enables everyday developers, fintechs, traditional companies, PSPs, and beyond to onboard into stablecoins. And so we're a stablecoin app developer platform. We work with exchanges, fintechs, traditional remittance companies, freelancer platforms, stablecoin neobanks, and we work with all sorts of companies that are trying to build products around stablecoins, whether it's mobile, web, and we're starting to see more and more exciting use cases that are popping up with stablecoins. And I joke that these are boring use cases, and that's kind of what I think is the opportunity for us to see the space grow pretty significantly too.
Yeah, before we started recording, you were sharing about I guess what we would call a boring use case, a very big Asian banking company who's looking into this. It sounds like a very large opportunity. What are you, in your position, you're leading this company, you have an incredible background at Visa and building this thing. You seem to be connected with a lot of those companies that if they decided to adopt this technology, it would really move the needle. What are the questions they're asking? What are the things they're maybe on the fence about, or the top of mind things that they're asking when they're having these discussions with you?
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting because I think when you talk to a crypto native person, they have an affinity towards one blockchain, one stablecoin, one type of protocol or DEX, right? These are folks that are, when you talk to traditional payment companies, they're totally green. They have no pre-existing bias towards Solana versus Base versus Polygon versus USDC versus USDT. And so the questions are actually, they stem from being super basic for hey, what are stablecoins? How does this work? What's the difference between them? To all the way to hey, should I use Base? Should I use Solana? Which one should I use?
How do I even think about this?
Yeah, how do I think about this? And then, by the way, I want to build a product line around this. Where do I even start? And so you have a lot of these folks that they're actually in it for the value prop that this technology provides, not necessarily for the fandom or
It's refreshing, isn't it?
Community.
It's slightly refreshing. It's boring but refreshing, I'd imagine.
It's boring, but it's totally refreshing, and I think that's where you start to see the space that we call crypto being truly to the masses at that point, where these guys are bringing billions of dollars of volume already today. They're across one of the remittance companies we work with across 130 countries already. They have on and off ramps set up all across these markets, and so you have these built-in distributions and pipes that are already there. And now you're layering stable coins onto it.
Yeah,
it gets pretty exciting pretty quickly.
Yeah, what are the things that maybe unique to Portal? I know that the landscape that you guys compete in is. It's a hot space. You guys are solving a really needed problem to get anything live on chain. You guys are building really core infrastructure to go live, to build applications, to build infrastructure. You guys have been doing this for how many years actually has it been?
It's been about 3 years.
3 years you've been building
more,
this?
Yeah.
It seems like you're in this really incredible position where you've had 3 years to build. You have all these resources available. You have enough use cases and powerful clients today that you can go and have Harry on your team go out and sell. There's so much for the taking this year. What is when you think about competitively or how you differentiate, what are you finding is the thing that's making Portal better or distinguished than what might be alternatively out there?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think, I think maybe I made this shift maybe about 18 months ago where I think there's a quote that comes to mind is escape competition through authenticity. So we actually don't really think about other folks as much. We kind of focus on ourselves. And, what we can kind of fall back on is that, we've got this really strong payments DNA, this really strong fintechs DNA. We're bringing that into crypto. We're kind of layering both worlds together. We're making it digestible and easy and approachable, where folks like a bank or a fintech can reach out to us and say, hey, we want to build products here as well. And so I think that at a base level is like how we think about ourselves. And I think from there, what we've done is that we've used that same authentic identity to then build our infrastructure around it also. So everything we've built has actually been stablecoin centric. If someone wants to, lock in FX rates at a specific second, we can't tell them, oh yeah, it's going to go into a mempool and there's like network congestion and you have to go like,
You've already lost them. They're gone.
The transaction, it's insane. And like for me to go, the way that we've designed our infrastructure is that we abstract away that complexity where you don't have to worry about nonce management and fee markets, gas subsidization, all these like random things that we come up with crypto, right?
The person asking which blockchain should I use probably doesn't care about that stuff.
Exactly. And I think that's, and I always joke with people like, I've worked at Visa for 7 years. I know exactly how Visa works. We all use Visa every single day today, but you can't go to someone on the street and be like, how does Visa work? They shouldn't need to know how it works. All they should know is that transaction's been completed. The merchants receive their funds. The funds from their bank account left their bank account to go to the merchant's funds. That's basically it. And so I think that's how I think about stablecoins, crypto, and blockchains is that, there is going to be a subsect of the community that's crypto native that should know how this stuff works. But the rest of the world, like, we got to do a better job of just abstracting all this away, where the value is really like the surface to the top, and everything else is just fully hidden away too.
Quick hit questions coming.
Let's do it.
What is a use case for stablecoins that maybe Portal could power that people aren't thinking about or maybe underestimating? Like you've talked about remittances, anything else other than that?
We've there's a bunch, but a couple interesting ones that we've come across recently is that, and this is like a super boring one, but just moving funds across subsidiaries if you're like a multinational company.
Treasury management.
Yeah, like you're a large company. Let's say you have to move funds from.
This is as boring as it gets. It's great.
Oh yeah, this is like I have entities across Europe, U.S., Latin America. But by the way, my tax entity, like the entity that gets taxed is like in Ireland, as an example. And so like if you want to route all transactions, it has to like somehow go through your pass-through entity in Ireland in order to actually make it there. This is like a very simple use case where you could, you spin up our infrastructure. You can now move stable coins instead of going through the correspondent banking system where it's like US to Europe, then it goes to Brazil, and then it goes to Africa, and then it goes right back around. You could just say, let's move stable coins around the world in seconds. What took like potentially a couple weeks is now taking seconds for them to do. And the opportunity cost of money in transit is insane for these multinational companies where they could invest it as part of their OpEx, growing their business and more. And so that's like one of the more boring use cases where I'm like, yeah, we could actually help solve for that I wouldn't have expected before building Portal.
So I have a company, it's all over the world. I have entities in 5 different continents. And essentially what you're doing is you're giving in a wallet address or a destination tied to those entities that I can kind of just like pass value around and it can settle within seconds.
At the simplest sense, yeah, that's 100% it. That's as like the simplest way to set this up. And then now you have, a fully abstracted experience that your treasury, your treasurer person internally can be like, hey, I need to move money pretty quickly. I can do this now, like instantly. T+0, T+seconds in this case.
T+nothing.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's awesome. Any final thoughts? We can wrap up here. Any, product updates, features, things that you feel get you excited about what you're building, or maybe even sweeter, like clients, case studies, new launches that are coming soon?
Man, where to start? We have, multiple case studies of like customers like Bando out in Mexico City, launching like a payment spending protocol. We have Takenos out of Argentina building a freelancer platform out there.
Shout out Lucas.
Our friends Carlos at Meru in Colombia. So we have we're fortunate to have a lot of exciting folks that we work with today. WonderFi out in Canada, one of the larger exchanges over there too. So I think we're fortunate to work with a lot of folks around the world. And I think the beauty of stablecoins and crypto broadly is that we get to work with people all around the world. And like one of the things for me at Visa that really excited me over there was I wasn't just working with the US teams. I was working with Asia, with Europe. And I think with crypto and Portal, I get to do that all over again. Where I get to travel the world and effectively hang out with friends. And so I think that's top of mind for me right now.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us, Raj. This was fun.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me. This is awesome.